Hey there, welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today we're doing things a little differently. Think of it as a crypto news buffet. We've got a massive spread of headlines, and we're going to sample a bunch of them just to get a taste of what's happening in the crypto world. Then we'll zero in on a couple of stories that really deserve a closer look.
What's fascinating is that even with all the ups and downs, Bitcoin is on the verge of breaking its all-time high from back in 2021. It's like it's refusing to stay down, which is pretty remarkable considering everything that's happened.
I know, right? And it's not just Bitcoin making waves. We've got Hong Kong inching closer to launching spot Bitcoin and Ethereum ETFs. Plus, Bitcoin mining is getting profitable again. And word on the street is that institutional investors have poured a whopping $23 billion into Bitcoin this year alone.
It's a clear sign that big players are taking crypto seriously, despite the regulatory hurdles and market volatility.
Okay, but let's not sugarcoat things. The crypto world isn't all sunshine and rainbows. Just this past week, we saw multiple DeFi platforms hit by cyber attacks. And then there's Friendtech's token, which basically face-planted.
These incidents raise a critical question. Are they isolated hiccups, or are they signs of deeper vulnerabilities in the DeFi space? What do you think?
Honestly, it's hard to say for sure, but it's definitely a reminder that the crypto world can be a bit of a Wild West. You've got to be careful out there.
Speaking of cautionary tales, let's talk about Tether. USDT, the stablecoin that practically everyone uses in crypto trading.
Right, the one that's always been surrounded by whispers and speculation.
All those whispers just got a lot louder. The Wall Street Journal dropped a bombshell report claiming that the U.S. government is investigating Tether for potential money laundering and sanctions violations.
Yeah, and that news sent shockwaves through the entire crypto market. If the U.S. were to actually impose sanctions on Tether, it could have a domino effect on the entire ecosystem. I mean, Tether is the most used stablecoin out there. It's the glue that holds a lot of crypto trading together.
Exactly. But before we hit the panic button, it's important to remember that Tether has vehemently denied these allegations. They're calling it old news, and the Wall Street Journal didn't reveal its sources. Plus, no official authority has confirmed the investigation.
True, but this isn't Tether's first brush with regulators. They've been fined by both the Commodity Futures Trading Commission, or CFTC for short, and the New York Attorney General in the past.
That's true. However, Tether also claims to be working closely with law enforcement to combat criminal activity. It's a tangled web, that's for sure.
It is. And it raises some big questions about the stability of the entire crypto ecosystem. What happens if the most widely used stablecoin is compromised? It's a pretty unsettling thought.
Absolutely. It really underscores the need for more regulatory clarity in the crypto world.
Okay, so we've got a potential stablecoin scandal brewing. But that's not the only thing shaking up the financial world. Let's switch gears and talk about BRICS.
Yes. The group of nations looking to reshape the global financial order. For those who need a refresher, we're talking about Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa.
They're not just aiming for a seat at the table, they want to build a whole new table.
Exactly. BRICS is pushing to create a new international payment system and possibly even a new reserve currency to rival the US dollar. It's a bold move that could potentially disrupt the global financial system as we know it.
It sounds like they're trying to create a world where the US dollar isn't the only game in town. What do you think the chances are that they'll succeed?
It's hard to say. It's a David versus Goliath situation. The US dollar has been the dominant global currency for decades, and it's not going to be easy to dethrone. But BRICS has a lot of economic clout, and they're clearly determined to shake things up.
This whole BRICS situation is definitely something to watch closely.
Agreed. It's a story that could have massive implications for everyone, not just those invested in crypto.
All right, before we get too deep into those two topics, let's skim over some other crypto headlines that caught our eye. It seems like there's always a hacker trying to pull off some crazy stunt, and this week is no exception. We've got a hacker who managed to drain millions from a U.S. government wallet that held seized funds from the 2016 Bitfinex hack.
And then promptly returned most of it.
It's almost like they were just trying to prove a point. Then we've got Microsoft shareholders potentially voting on whether the company should invest in Bitcoin. Can you imagine Microsoft with a Bitcoin treasury?
It would be a pretty big deal. And of course, Michael Saylor, the CEO of MicroStrategy and a major Bitcoin bull, has already offered to help them figure it out.
Speaking of big players' investment firm, Metaplanet just raised $66 million to buy more Bitcoin, adding to their already substantial holdings.
And BlackRock, the world's largest asset manager, just snagged another $317.5 million worth of Bitcoin for their ETF. That's a lot of institutional money flowing into Bitcoin.
Meanwhile, the meme coin roller coaster continues. This week, Mudang pumped over 200% after getting listed on Binance.
Which raises the question, is it just hype? Or is there something more to these meme-driven rallies? It's fascinating to see how social media can influence markets.
And let's not forget about Kraken, a major crypto exchange, which is planning to launch its own blockchain in 2025. It seems like everyone wants to build their own blockchain these days.
It's a sign of how rapidly the crypto landscape is evolving. We've also got some interesting developments on the technical front. Uniswap is launching permissionless cross-chain bridging across 9 different networks, making it easier to move assets between different blockchains.
That's huge for interoperability. And then there's Sui partnering with Google Cloud to enhance real-time blockchain data access for dApp development.
These are the kinds of innovations that could pave the way for wider crypto adoption.
Okay, so we've skimmed through a ton of headlines, and it's clear that the crypto world is as active as ever. But let's take a breath and then dive deeper into a couple of these stories. We'll start with the potential Tether investigation.
Sounds good to me. Let's unpack this potential bombshell and see what it could mean for the future of stablecoins and the crypto market as a whole.
All right, let's unpack this Tether situation. The biggest stablecoin in the world is under investigation for potential money laundering and sanctions violations. That's a pretty huge deal, right?
It is. Tether, or USDT, is essentially the lifeblood of many crypto exchanges. It's the bridge between traditional finance and the crypto world. So if that bridge is compromised, it could trigger a domino effect across the entire market.
We saw a glimpse of that when the news of the investigation broke. Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies dipped almost immediately. It seems like the market is pretty sensitive to anything that could threaten Tether's stability.
Definitely. Remember, a stablecoin is supposed to be, well, stable. It's designed to maintain a peg to a fiat currency like the US dollar. That stability is what makes it so useful for trading and as a safe haven during times of market volatility. But if people lose faith in Tether's ability to maintain that peg, things could get messy.
It's like finding out that the foundation of your house might be built on sand. Not a good feeling. So what exactly are the allegations against Tether?
The Wall Street Journal report, which again hasn't been officially confirmed, suggests that the U.S. government is investigating whether Tether was used to facilitate money laundering and violate sanctions, possibly involving Russia. They're even considering imposing sanctions on Tether.
Wow, that's a serious escalation. But, like we mentioned earlier, Tether has denied these allegations, calling them old noise. They claim they are cooperating with law enforcement and have strict compliance measures in place.
Right. And to be fair, Tether has faced scrutiny before and emerged relatively unscathed. Remember the fines they received from the CFTC and the New York Attorney General? Those were related to concerns about their reserves and transparency.
So there's a history of regulatory issues. But those previous cases didn't involve accusations as serious as potential sanctions violations.
That's true. And this time, the stakes are much higher. The potential impact on the entire crypto ecosystem is significantly greater.
This whole situation really underscores the importance of transparency and trust in the crypto world. If Tether can't definitively clear its name and demonstrate that its operations are above board, it could have ripple effects throughout the entire market.
Absolutely. Investors need to have confidence in the stability and legitimacy of the stablecoins they're using. This investigation could be a pivotal moment for Tether and for the broader adoption of stablecoins.
It seems like this story is far from over. We'll definitely be keeping a close eye on it. Now let's shift gears and revisit the other major story we touched on earlier. BRICS and their ambitions to challenge the dominance of the US dollar.
Right, it's like a geopolitical chess match playing out on a global scale. BRICS wants to create a new international payment system and potentially even a new reserve currency to rival the US dollar.
It's a bold vision, but can they actually pull it off? The US dollar has been the world's reserve currency for decades.
It has, and it enjoys a lot of advantages, including deep liquidity, a stable political system, and the backing of the world's largest economy. But those advantages aren't set in stone. The global landscape is shifting, and BRICS is a force to be reckoned with.
What specific steps are they taking to achieve this goal?
They're starting by promoting the use of their own currencies for trade and investment within the bloc. They're also exploring the creation of a new development bank and a potential BRICS-backed digital currency.
A BRICS digital currency. Now that's an interesting twist. Would that be a cryptocurrency or something else entirely?
And that's still unclear. Some experts believe they might create a central bank digital currency, CBDC, similar to what China is developing with its digital yuan. Others speculate that they might explore a more decentralized approach. leveraging blockchain technology to create a truly global currency that isn't controlled by any single nation.
That could have huge implications for the future of finance. Imagine a world where the global financial system isn't dominated by a single currency. Could crypto, with its decentralized nature, play a role in this new landscape?
It's certainly possible. If BRICS succeeds in diminishing the dollar's dominance, even slightly, it could create space for other currencies to step in, including cryptocurrencies.
It's fascinating to think about how these geopolitical shifts could intersect with the evolution of the crypto world.
Absolutely. And this is where things get really interesting. You've got these two seemingly separate narratives: the potential instability of stablecoins like Tether and the rise of BRICS as a challenger to the US dollar, converging in a way that could reshape the future of finance.
It's almost like two tectonic plates colliding, with the potential to trigger seismic shifts in the global economic landscape.
Exactly. And while it's still too early to predict the ultimate outcome, one thing is clear. We're witnessing a pivotal moment in history. The old financial order is being challenged and new possibilities are emerging.
It's definitely a time of great uncertainty, but also a time of incredible opportunity.
Agreed. And as we navigate this uncharted territory, one thing is certain: knowledge is power.
Okay, before we delve into some of the other news we've skimmed, I want to go back to the idea of a BRICS digital currency. This raises a lot of questions in my mind. What would it look like? How would it be governed? And how would it impact the existing financial system?
Those are all excellent questions, and unfortunately, we don't have all the answers yet. BRICS has been fairly tight-lipped about the specifics of their plans, but we can speculate based on what we know about their goals and the existing landscape of digital currencies.
So let's speculate. Let's say BRICS decides to go the CBDC route. What would that mean for the average person?
Well, a CBDC is essentially a digital version of a country's fiat currency. It's issued and controlled by a central bank. So a BRICS CBDC would likely be pegged to a basket of their respective currencies, creating a new kind of digital reserve asset.
Would that be similar to using a stablecoin like Tether, but backed by a group of nations instead of a single company?
In some ways, yes. But a BRICS CBDC would likely have more legitimacy and stability, given that it would be backed by the full faith and credit of multiple governments.
But wouldn't that also give those governments a lot of control over the currency? What about the concerns around privacy and censorship that we often hear about with CBDCs?
Those are valid concerns, and that's where the idea of a more decentralized, blockchain-based BRICS currency gets interesting.
Okay, let's explore that possibility. What would a decentralized BRICS currency look like?
It could potentially be a cryptocurrency that operates on a public blockchain, similar to Bitcoin or Ethereum. But instead of being controlled by a single entity, it would be governed by a consortium of BRICS nations.
So it'd be like a hybrid approach,
Yeah,
combining the benefits of decentralization with the backing of sovereign nations.
exactly. And that could be a very powerful combination. It could create a truly global currency that is resistant to censorship, manipulation, and the whims of any single nation.
That's a bold vision, that's for sure. But it also raises a whole new set of questions. How would this consortium make decisions? How would they ensure the stability of the currency? And how would they prevent it from being used for illicit activities?
Those are all challenges that would need to be addressed. But the potential rewards are significant. A decentralized BRICS currency could offer a more equitable and inclusive financial system, one that empowers individuals and levels the playing field for developing nations.
It's an idea that's worth exploring further. But for now, I think we need to shift our focus back to some of the other interesting news stories that we've been skimming over.
Agreed. There's a lot happening in the crypto world, and we don't want to miss anything important.
All right, so let's recap some of what we've talked about, from potential investigations to global power struggles, and even meme-driven rallies.
It's been quite a ride, and I think it highlights just how dynamic and unpredictable the crypto world can be.
Absolutely. So let's try to distill some key takeaways from all this. First up, we've got the potential investigation into Tether. It's a stark reminder that stablecoins, despite their name, aren't always as stable as we might think.
Right. And this case really underscores the need for greater transparency and regulatory clarity around stablecoins. These digital tokens have become essential to the crypto economy, but their legal status and the mechanisms that back them are still being scrutinized.
And that scrutiny is likely to intensify as governments around the world try to figure out how to regulate this emerging asset class. We saw a glimpse of that with Denmark's proposal to tax unrealized crypto gains, which would be a pretty significant development if it passes.
It would indeed. It shows that governments are taking crypto seriously, and they're looking for ways to ensure they get their cut of the pie.
Speaking of governments and their influence on the financial world, we can't forget about BRICS and their ambitions to challenge the dominance of the US dollar. This is a story with potentially huge geopolitical implications.
It is, and it raises some fascinating questions about the future of the global financial system. Could we be moving towards a multipolar world where power is more evenly distributed? Could cryptocurrencies play a role in that shift? These are all things we need to be thinking about.
It's a lot to wrap our heads around. But even amidst all this uncertainty and volatility, there are signs that the crypto world is maturing and gaining mainstream acceptance. We've got major institutional investors like BlackRock pouring money into Bitcoin. We've got companies like Microsoft exploring the potential of crypto. And we've got ongoing technological innovations like Uniswap's cross-chain bridging and Sui's partnership with Google Cloud that are making crypto more accessible and user-friendly.
It's a reminder that beneath the hype and speculation, there's real value being created in the crypto space.
Absolutely. And for those who are willing to do their research and stay informed, there are incredible opportunities to be found. But it's not for the faint of heart.
That's for sure. The crypto world is still a bit of a wild west, with high rewards and high risks.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, what's the one message you want to leave our listeners with?
I think the key takeaway is this. The future of finance is being written right now, and crypto is playing a major role. Whether you're a seasoned investor or just starting to explore this space, it's crucial to stay informed, stay curious, and be prepared for a wild ride.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Yeah.
We've covered a lot of ground today, but this is just a snapshot of what's happening in the ever-evolving world of crypto. New developments are emerging every day, and we'll be here to break them down for you.
That's right. So until next time, keep your ears to the ground, your minds open, and your wallets secure.
See you on the next deep dive.